Okay, so this is Zelda Twilight Princess. The game is now 20 years old, which is pretty unbelievable. This was groundbreaking when it came out. Want to play it? And to make things more interesting, this will be a 3-heart challenge, meaning that I will not have much health throughout the course of the game. So I've also got retro achievements linked up to this, and their sort of description of a 3-heart challenge is that you're not allowed to use the magic armor, and you are not allowed to possess any more than one bottle, which means you'll only have one heal mid-fight. So yeah, so we'll just start. I've already got this save file made. I will be skipping every cutscene. You never play Zelda for the story. I haven't played this for about 9 or 10 years. We'll see what I remember. I was absolutely obsessed with this game when I was younger. I grew up with the Wii version of the game, which was mirrored in comparison to this GameCube version. So odds are I'm going to be going left when I need to be going right. Yeah, the goat minigame, kind of a staple of the early game here. Twilight Princess has a good couple hours of just crap to get through. It's quite a long introduction. I mean, I try to think like what's sort of the game design purpose of this goat minigame. You could say it's to teach the player how to ride the horse. I've pissed that guy off. Yeah. Teaches the player the horse controls, which is fair enough. I mean, I suppose it's also got, like, story relevance, I guess. Not that the story should ever be the point of a Zelda game. Yeah, Twilight Princess, man, this really was like a groundbreaking game when it came out. At least in my opinion. It was Zelda sort of returning to the realistic style of Ocarina and Majora. And yeah, we'll see if it holds up all these years later. So if memory serves me correct, the next part of the intro, you need to go and get the slingshot. Was the retro achievements working? Oh, I mean, I can test it here, because there's one for pissing off the pumpkin guy. So if I keep throwing pumpkins, the guy up on the cliff there should eventually get pissed off with me. There we go. Okay. So it is working. Is the slingshot the next thing? It might actually be getting the baby back. Yeah, I mean, people say that Twilight Princess's visuals haven't aged well, but I don't know, I still think they look good. I mean, that might be just pure nostalgia talking. Alright, recollecting the baby. No, there's no baby in there. It's just the bed, I think. I don't know. I forget the story. So this gets the fishing rod, I believe. Yep. Yeah. And then from here, we go fishing, and then the cat runs into the convenience store. Yeah, I searched around trying to see if there was a mod to like mirror the game to have it look like the Wii version. I couldn't find one. You know, one might exist, but I definitely couldn't find it myself. So I kind of forget how fishing works. Don't know what the indication is when I've got a catch. I mean, that's gotta be one, right? There we go. I think it has to be at least 10 ounces. Or inches. Maybe not. Maybe it's 12. Maybe it's 12 inches. Another 11 inch. Okay, you took that. Or it might be your second fish that you catch. I don't know. Alright, so now I think we need 30 rupees. And the best way of that is smashing pumpkins. I think there's a tenor somewhere around here. I've just lost all game knowledge from not playing this game for a decade. Who would have thought? Oh, there's the ladder. So yeah, Twilight Princess, in comparison to the rest of the series, I would say that Twilight Princess is probably the most recommendable Zelda game. I suppose other than like Breath of the Wild or whatever. But in terms of like the OG Zeldas, I think Twilight Princess holds up the best. So it could be argued that the intro is poorly paced. It works for a first playthrough, but when you realize that there's sort of no way around all of these little chores that you have to do in the intro, and you know, you start to think maybe it's a bad introduction. And I mean, there's definitely things that I would change about it, but I think that on the whole, it's not that bad if you know what you gotta do to get through it. Alright, so that is my first bottle, and it will be the only bottle that I will collect for the whole game. Did I forget to... I forgot to actually purchase the slingshot. Alright, so now we've got the wooden sword. Wooden sword. I think I actually remember learning a few of the sequence breaks as well when I was younger. I think that I did actually pull off that early Master Sword glitch at least once. It may have only been once, actually. Yeah, the Wii controls, forced motion control usage. It was a really baffling design choice to not even allow the player to plug in a GameCube controller. Back in those days, Nintendo was shilling those motion controls pretty hard. Yeah, they were a massive hit with the, like, casual gaming audience, but they just lost, like, all of the legit gamers during the Wii console generation. I mean, that's what makes Twilight Princess so good as well, is it's very clearly a Zelda game made for gamers, made for people that actually enjoy games. Ooh, yeah, okay. I remember we need the lantern. So we got that lantern, and I'm pretty sure it gives you a free fill. Yeah. Ooh, performance tanking in this section. Let's see what I can do to remedy that. Alright, so I am using the best backend for Twilight Princess. I mean, I'm running at 2 times native. I would hate to have to play it at native resolution. I mean, I guess I'll just play it at native. Not ideal, but that might be the only way. Yep, it's still running bad. Let's figure this out. So I can definitely run it at 2 times native without issue. Might just have to co-op the bad performance for that section. I'm having trouble trying to find the issue here. Yeah, what are you gonna do? You know? I just don't have a powerful enough PC to load this one specific area in Twilight Princess. I mean, I can check CPU usage to see if it's consuming mass CPU. I mean, yeah, I'm at around 60% CPU usage. Oh, there's another 40%. Whoa, what's going on here? MOUSU core worker process is taking up 15 to 20% CPU. I don't know if that's just a part of... Is that just a part of Dolphin or something? Because, like, would that not just, like, maximally boost performance? Well, for now, I'm just going to put up with this slow speed, and we'll simply consider it an advantage, as playing in slow motion should allow me to react to anything that comes up. I mean, you gotta wonder how tragic Hyrule Field will be. I mean, I was debating plugging in the Wii for this. I mean, I was hoping that I could just run it on my computer, and that would just be easier. It's not the worst thing in the world if it's just for like these brief sections. It's allowing me to get these frame perfect rolls. Frame perfect rolling tempo. Oh my goodness, this is so bad. Yeah, I really gotta figure out like, what is this like thing in my task manager that's taking up 20% for like no reason. I wanna look it up to see if I can just end that task. It's using a lot of CPU. It is important from the looks of things. Meaning, I should probably try to look up ways to reduce CPU load in Dolphin. So Google is suggesting enabling dual core mode. Where is that? Says that it increases chance of crashing, which does not sound ideal, but I will give it a try. Alright, I mean, it seems to be running a bit better. I mean, there definitely seems to be some brief moments where it's going like faster than 100%. Anyway, we're back to the game. How about that? After this, I think we have to herd goats one more time, and then we go wolf form. Yeah, there's definitely an art form to herding these goats. Well, that's a lot of productivity there. I got like 10 of them in within like 2 seconds. So I mean, I'm curious to see whether limiting myself to 3 hearts and 1 bottle will boost the difficulty significantly. I mean, it obviously won't be noticeable until, I don't know, maybe halfway through the game. From memory, there was a glitch which allowed you to like play on the title screen. I remember I could do it in the Arbiter's Grounds dungeon. Yeah, when we get to that dungeon, I might give that a try. Just for the fun of it. Like, there's not really any point to doing that, but you know, being able to like control Link on the title screen is pretty cool. So I've just skipped a crucial cutscene. So now after I save, I should be in wolf form. So yeah, wolf form. Is it good? It's got about as much utility as one of the transformation masks in Majora's Mask. It's not necessarily bad. I think the wolf definitely could have been expanded upon. Because from memory, he can dig. He's got the sense thing, which I think is about to unlock here. And that's kind of about it. Other than that, he just sort of has his own sort of style of combat. So I'm still just operating off of pure muscle memory right now. You know, after so many years of not playing this game, yeah, there's just things that you don't forget. Like I learned to solve a Rubik's Cube, and despite the fact that I haven't done that regularly for about 5 years, if I was given a Rubik's Cube right now, I could probably still solve it. In fact, I could definitely still solve it. I could probably prove that right now if I wanted to. Yeah, stuff it. So Rubik's Cube. I've not used this for years. Mix it up. Not looking. Mixing up without looking. Completely random gramble that we've got here. And I will see if I can still do this. There we go. So, that would have been under a minute, surely. I promise that I haven't done that for 5 years. Possibly 4. It would have to be like 4 years and like 6 months. Yeah, these Midna jumps are kind of complete spectacle. Like there's no mechanical depth Which, yeah, isn't bad or anything. But I wouldn't point to these Midna jumps as, like, added complexity for the wolf form. Yeah, pretty much just mash A to attain lift. We were almost halfway through the first wolf section. I've always thought that it's pretty misplaced to have such a long wolf section right at the beginning of the game, where you not only have to go through the sewers and all that, you also have to go grab the sword and shield, and you have to do the bug collecting. I actually don't mind the bug collecting, but I think that the collecting the sword and shield, that's pointless. Because if you think logically, right, let's say we went and did the bugs straight away, then Link gets turned back into human, then he could just go back into town and get his stuff. I mean, I suppose he's taking the other guy's sword, so I suppose that justifies it. I'm fairly certain we have to eavesdrop on these guys. I don't know if that's necessary. I feel like if you try to jump up on top of this building beforehand, it just doesn't let you. Oh yeah, we gotta get rid of this guy before we can jump up. And now I can jump up here. Grab that shield. I think that my game knowledge for this game should run for about the first half. I mean, the second half, I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, I just have no knowledge of those later dungeons. Like, I know what they are, but I don't think I'm gonna remember the puzzles in them. So now we gotta sneak into that guy's house, which I believe you're safe if you just stick to the water. And we can dig in somewhere here. That's the sword and shield, so now we just have to do the bug collecting. I reckon I've had a lot of criticism of the bug collecting sections. I actually don't mind them. It's a good introduction to whatever area you're about to explore. And the Twilight sort of aesthetic that those areas have is pretty dense. Like, it's a pretty dense atmosphere. So we have to do this fight and fail. Can't leave one of these guys alive, all on their own, because he just revives them. Seems like I'm just gonna end up dying here. Yeah, there we go. Yep, it's completely hopeless, and we need Midna's help. What's the button for this? B? Yeah. There we go. Pretty much this guy just says, collect bugs. And then we just go collect bugs. Immensely deep lore. No doubt. Yeah, we gotta go inside this guy's house. And that's sort of the charm of the wolf form, is he has to find strange ways of getting to places that human Link would be able to enter easily. That's probably not the best way of wording it, but I was considering playing the Wii U version for this. Opted out of it though, simply because I'm just not the biggest fan of the Wii U version. It does stuff like replacing the weapon wheel here with like a standard and boring grid, among other changes that I'm just not a huge fan of. Something that is good that the Wii U version does is it reduces how many bugs you have to get from 16 to 12 in each area, which that's fine. I think, you know, 12 works. I mean, there doesn't have to be 2 bugs here, because you're doing the same thing to get both of them. So yeah, you could probably even reduce it down to like 8. Because if you look at the map, then you'll see that they're pretty much clustered into these 8 different locations. So yeah, we need to do Midna jumps to traverse this now poisonous area. I missed them. Okay, I'm gonna save and reload, because that is a pain to get back to. I've definitely done that before. I mean, there's no way I would have recognized that error that quick otherwise. Like, yeah, you can notice that there's 8 bugs that I have left to collect. I suppose that my camera's covering it. Let me just... There's 8 left. What we'll notice is that there's actually only 3 locations here on the map that there are bugs. What you could do is you could reduce these 8 down to just 3 bugs. And you wouldn't even be missing out on any game design at all. So this is where that Master Sword sequence break is. I don't know if I remember how to do it. It involves like luring one of these guys sort of around here, and then you go like here, and then you do like a jump like that, and you can get up here and go get the Master Sword really early on. I do not have the skill for that, but I did definitely do that once, that glitch once, back when I was playing this as a kid. Well, that concludes the Farron Woods bug collecting. And I would say that this is where the introduction of the game ends. So yeah, the next thing is the Forest Temple. Yeah, I now need the key to get through there. Don't you have it? Yeah, this stupid monkey section. I would say that the point of this section is simply to drain the lantern and ensure that all players have nothing in their lantern heading into the next area, which sort of forces a decision out of the player, which I will show soon. If you think about it, they didn't have to make this area poisonous, they didn't have to make this monkey do this. I would argue that this is merely to force a decision out of the player in just a moment. Dude, what is the point? You're out of the poison. So you're gonna need lantern oil in order to open up the Forest Temple. Hang on, I didn't do anything yet. He's acting like I've stolen something already. I was planning to steal something now, but he seems to have already done that. I mean, I think the only way to disable this is to just let him kill you. Very strange. Like, I haven't done anything. But, I suppose that's the first death of this 3 hurt run. Quite a context to have that. So now he shouldn't be pissed off with me because I have... Oh... Maybe he wants me to kill these. Okay. Well, I didn't know about that. I'll give him a rupee. Okay, so he's not even pissed off with me for doing that. Alright, so now the secret scroll moves. I think these were a massive missed opportunity for the developers to make a really intricate combat system. They've got all the moves. They've got all the moves here. They've got heaps of cool moves that you can learn throughout the game. And they made only this one mandatory. And the only reason that this is mandatory is because the final boss uses it. That's it though. That's the only reason why they force you to use this. They should have made all of these combat moves mandatory, so then they could design enemies and bosses around them. Would have been a genuinely good combat system. Alright, Forest Temple. Let's see if I remember how to do this. So obviously the monkeys is the sort of gimmick for this one. I think the monkeys are actually a good design choice for inexperienced players, as they offer sort of loose guidance. Like, they're not slowing down anyone who doesn't need to be slowed down. Yep. I think this monkey can traverse one of these gaps. This one. We just had to do that story beat beforehand. Whoa, okay. that displayed a complete lack of skill. That should be the first small key. Yep. Yeah, so Forest Temple ensures that you have seen this room. When they give you this key in this room, they're trying to make you remember this. Obviously, all game design that sort of remains invisible to the player is probably genius. Like, stuff like that, where it's like, it doesn't tell you to remember it, but like, you are gonna remember that. I mean, unless you're just a moron, but, you know. I don't think a moron should be playing Zelda. Yeah, and they also go ahead and show you the boss key. If you think about it, like, all that's happened here is I've gone through a room, I've gotten a key, and now I've come up to a key door. But they've actually given quite a lot of knowledge in the process of just giving that key and then showing me where the door is. I mean, it's not like Twilight Princess is the only Zelda to do this. This sort of design is really what put the series on the map. Like, it's just genius stuff. Alright, so now that's 2 monkeys. I believe that there is 8 total. You know, I do wish that the quick spins were a little easier to do. They require 2 spins in order to activate. 2 spins of the joystick, that is. So yeah, now we can go to the other side of the room, which should get a 3rd and 4th monkey, I believe. So yeah, I've heard about a little detail. I think I actually saw this in like a YouTube short or something. Where like the first time you go through one of these doors, you see like dust fall from the ceiling, but a subsequent opening of the door, no dust. Like, I mean, it's stuff like that. Like, just these minute details. I mean, that's Twilight Princess for you. Oh, fuck you, bro. Like, this one section of Forest Temple is more annoying than, like, anything else in the whole fucking game. I wish I was kidding. Like, that just... it's just so embarrassing as well. Like, it just looks so simple, and yet it is just so annoying. Alright, so here's another monkey, and I believe that there is an easily missed small key right here. That's elite game knowledge if I've actually gone and remembered this. Elite bowl knowledge. Well, I guess it's... okay, maybe it's not easily missed if they literally force you to use it right here. Then, like, you kinda... you kinda have to find it, because, you know, you're just sort of messing around in this room for ages otherwise. I mean, I suppose it's still moderately good bowl knowledge, just to know it without having to mess around to try and remember. So now I'm at 3 monkeys. There should just be 1 more before the mini boss. Yeah, so you just kind of chuck bombs in this guy's snout. Do you have to kill this thing first? Slingshot is of minimal use. Yeah, okay. I remembered that being a more complicated fight, where you had to, like, kind of manage throwing bombs in while the thing was attacking you. I must have just completely misremembered. And that's monkey number 4, meaning that now I can go to the mini-boss. Alright, so this boss geniusly uses the mechanic of rolling into the pillars that we've been using to grab small keys, and that second monkey. So obviously this guy isn't going to be any more challenging than usual, as 3 hearts is the intended amount to have at this point. Maximum DPS? You could probably do that in 2 cycles, if you're like doing like the maximum DPS possible for the entire duration. So I always found this item like really weird. Like the Gale Boomerang is the only item in Twilight Princess that like talks to you before you get it. God, it's unnecessary. So typically what Zelda games do when you get a new item is they'll lock you in a room with it, right? So there's no way out of this place other than going through this door, and it will teach the item's most basic application. So you can use the Gale Boomerang to hit these propellers. Wow, the Y-axis is mirrored to what I would expect it to be, which is very annoying. I don't know, like axes, like camera axes are like so weird because like they make sense like both ways. Like it makes sense for pushing up to move this up and for pushing up to move this down. Like both make an amount of sense. Like both can be intuitive, but you know, people always have preferences. I just find the other way to be a bit more comfortable. Knew it. Yeah, none of the dungeons in Twilight Princess are so complex that the compass comes in use. I would say that the 2D Zeldas actually have more complex dungeon layouts than the 3D Zeldas. I mean, the layouts really are like the majority of the challenge in the 2D Zelda dungeons. Where in 3D Zelda, I think it's more so about memorization and individual puzzle rooms. So you absolutely want to be getting this boss key sooner rather than later. There we go. So they really did leave a monkey there, signaling you to go back here, just in case you didn't remember from grabbing that small key. What's the technique with these enemies? Like you kind of just spam them with attacks until they eventually... Oh, I mean, I guess use the item, right? Fair enough. And I need a key before I can go back there. Alright, so obviously you gotta boomerang this thing into the rock. Then using that same knowledge from here, you go from that guy into that guy. Or not? Like, what? I mean, or you can just do it the boring way and just grab it. Oh, okay. Just explode into the wall. Repeated? Just completely repeated? Same thing, same result? I really shouldn't have been surprised. Like, I did the same thing twice, and I was surprised that the same result came from it. It is definitely a room temp IQ moment. So there's the key for the door that was locked slightly before. Alright, time for the last monkey. Dude, the bonks. Now, you know, say you missed the boss key. I think that this room here should like kind of remind you of that. Like just hitting those propellers on top of those pillars, it should sort of cause the player to remember that area if they were to have missed it. The monkey chain. I mean, I suppose it's a good way to culminate the efforts that the player has gone throughout this dungeon. Yep, so just classic Zelda boss using the item from the dungeon to defeat the boss. You know, especially for a first dungeon boss, that's kind of fine. Like you can't really fault the game for that. I would have liked if the series was more willing to like stretch its legs with the boss designs. I mean, I suppose not the designs. Like the designs are really cool. Like look at this. This looks really cool. But mechanically, you're kind of just doing the same sort of stuff that you're doing throughout the dungeon. So I reckon that monkey dude's gonna, yep, show up. Simple matter of locking onto that, then locking onto this, nope, this. Or not, we'll do the side ones first. I could have sworn that you could have just gone straight for the middle one. That's alright. Like, mechanically, obviously not a very interesting boss, but it's alright. I mean, I really could have sworn that you could go straight for the center one without having to defeat the sides first. I mean, I'll try it again. See, this guy literally just can't harm you from this distance. So really, the majority of the challenge is just like trying to put up with the boomerang aiming. Yeah, see, like, I just went straight for the middle one there. And it worked. There we go. I need to make an effort not to grab that heart container, because otherwise the 3 heart run is terminated, effective immediately. So that was the Forest Temple. If you don't consider the intro to Twilight Princess being complete before the Forest Temple, you've definitely got to consider it complete after the Forest Temple. If you don't, then you're just saying that, like, what, is the whole game the intro? Like, I don't know, like, where do you draw the line if not here? So yeah, from here, I believe Kakariko Village is next.